If you didn't make it through it, you wouldn't be sitting here listening to me. Maybe you ain't make it through with all your teeth. Maybe you ain't make it through it with all your edges. Maybe you got a little bit of hair on your nipples now. But you made it. Shit. Randomness, but kind of started when me and my husband got married. Even really before that, before me and my husband got married, I remember when I was in college, and you know, my friends, everything was cool and stuff, blah blah blah. That's a whole nother story. But I remember when I decided that I didn't want to be in college anymore and I wanted to come and go to cosmetology school. I remember like people like, oh my god, like that is so stupid, you gonna drop out of college to do hair, you gotta get a real job. I remember my best friend at the time, her dad hurt my feelings so bad in my face, like, I don't think that's a good idea, that I need you to get a real job. That's not a real job, you need a degree. And so now fast forward all of these years later, I'm where I am and she's where she is, and she's still trying to figure out what she's gonna do with her life. And she's a couple of years older than me and I'm 33. So that was one thing. Another thing, and so of course everybody had something to say, but then I was like, forget that. And I knew what I wanted to do, so I went to cosmetology school, finished. That was something nobody could say anything to me about. Then after that, like right as I was in cosmetology school finishing up, I met my husband, and then we ended up getting married. I was 20, he was 22. Everybody on both sides was like, oh, you crazy, you boy crazy, you don't even know him like that, why are you marrying him? Don't marry him, that's not gonna last. His people was telling him like, oh, you don't even know that girl, like that ain't gonna last, he'll be back, because he ended up moving from Michigan to Vegas to be with me or whatever, even though I was from there too. A whole nother story. Don't get married young. I remember when I would be at work, I would have older women come and ask me like, oh, you know, that's so cute, you're married, and I can count. I don't have enough fingers and toes to tell you how many times somebody said this to me, but I would be talking to women and they would be like, so what did you do? I remember, I will never forget, I ain't gonna say her name, but I remember her name because it's something I can't forget. It's like, what did you do the first time your husband cheated on you? And I was looking at her like, do you know something that I don't know? Because I was like, I don't know. He never cheated on me before. She was like, how long have I been married? And then at this point, it was like I was married for like 2 years, maybe like 2-3 years, maybe like the first 4 years when somebody would ask me that. And I was like, oh, he's never cheated before. They'd be like, oh my God, girl, that's so cute. Girl, bye. All men cheat. Like, that was the beginning, right? So that was just with hair, right? And so then, I mean, that was with everyday life. And then in the hair salon, I was one of the youngest women there, so all of the women were like way older than me, and they were just like, oh, little girl, you shouldn't be using no round brush, you don't need to use no round brush, you need to use the press and comb, little girl, that ain't how you do that, little girl, you supposed to be using XYZ, you know what I mean? So like that's why my personality is how it is, because opposition 24/7, opposition all the time, right? It was my norm, right? Like, used to that. So anyway, when I get online, like before that, it all gave me, from experiencing all of that, right, it gave me this type of mentality and this type of attitude that really makes me kind of sort of unmovable and unshakable. Like, I can, even though it may be hard for me to transition, even though it may be hard for me to transform myself and to transition, I can do it no matter what. It's gonna be hard, but I will never fold. Like, and I'm gonna win. I'm going to win, period. But the reason that I want to say this is because I've been in a place before where I'm trying to figure stuff out, where I'm comparing myself. And I remember the worst part through all of this, right, was me comparing myself to people that that were on levels that I either aspired to, and I'm just being real, people who I felt like was on a level that I had already surpassed. But then on social media with the computer is determining our worth and our value, and I'm not saying that's what it is, that is how I was feeling, right? And so from the outside looking in, it just looks like everybody has it figured out. And I'm not trying to say like, oh, I have stuff figured out so much better than everybody else, but I just remember, you know, me and my husband getting married at 20 and 22. Everybody around us like, oh, y'all ain't even live, y'all don't go to the club. But I've just never been that type. Like, I used to go out with my cousin, but it was to be with her. It wasn't to go out like that's what she did, and she was my older cousin, so I was with her, and I like idolized her because she was 5 years older than me. So you know what I mean, like that was the only thing that I did. If I wasn't with her, I was at home with my parents. Like, not an only child, but 2 older siblings that I have three older siblings that I have no relationship with. Used to have a relationship with my brother, but I haven't had a relationship with him since I was 10, and I'm 33, you know. So raised, grown up, moved through, maneuvered through, experienced life alone. Other than my father's death and their weddings, I don't see my siblings. So I was raised alone. My siblings were not in my wedding or at my wedding. I was at all 3 of my siblings' weddings. None of them were at my wedding. So I'm not tripping or I'm not upset. I'm just speaking real so you can understand like my mentality, how I think, how my mind works, how I move through things, how I process information, right? So anyway, once I knew that I didn't want to do hair no more, like I said, made the video on that already, so go watch that, right? So after I decided on all of that, I knew it was time for me to begin transitioning myself and begin transforming myself. So of course you're being really judgmental towards yourself, especially when you have when at the time that I was doing my transition, literally like maybe like 6 months later, they introduced the algorithm. The algorithm was not a thing when I decided to transition. When I decided to transition, it was like transition with this algorithm, right? But I will not fold. That was years ago. Have not folded. Things are, even though sometimes surface level, when you're comparing yourself to what somebody else is posting online or to a life that somebody else is pretending to have, or not necessarily pretending to have, but when you're just comparing yourself to somebody else's deck of cards, it's so easy for you to lose sight of like where you're going, how you're moving, if whether or not what you're doing is really working, if whether or not what you're doing is valuable, right? If whether or not what you give and what you bring to the table is valuable, if it's not producing the same results as other people are producing. And the reason that I'm making this video is because I'm not saying like, oh, people want to be like me or people comparing themselves to me, but you never know. If you are, do not. Or anybody else, because everybody's at a different phase in life, right? For example, some people wouldn't, and I'm not saying what you should or shouldn't be doing, I'm just using an example. Like, it's this thing, it's like, oh, high value man, 6-figure this, 6-figure that, BBL time, and all of these different phases, lip injections, and all of these different things that women are doing. But at the end of the day, or everybody like, oh, I'm about to buy a house, oh, I'm buying this car, ooh, I got bloody shoes, I got bloody shoes, right? Everybody has a different thing that they want. Everybody has a different thing that they're going for. Everybody has a different thing that they're motivated by. But at the end of the day, like, just using that for an example, that's what I was saying. You see all of that stuff. Oh, high value man this, or high value woman this, and oh, I need a man with 6 figures, and I need this and that. And I remember seeing this one video. I'll try to add the clip right here.
Hey, peace. What's up? All right. I divorced my husband. Why did I divorce my husband? I divorced my husband because I was making a certain amount of money. I divorced my husband because I thought I didn't need him anymore. I divorced my husband because I had this senior position at work and thought I held the same position at home. I divorced my husband because I thought I was better than him because I had my degree now. I divorced my husband because I thought a successful marriage meant I was here and he was down here. That is not success. That's sickness. I found myself divorced and out there looking for love in all the wrong places. And this one and that one and that one and that one and this one and that one, and my body count going up and my value going down. I'm just gonna call it like a TI is. All the while my husband done found somebody else building a relationship and building a life with them.
Because a lot of people think that the things that they're doing now are new, where in reality everything is moving in cycles. Everything is moving in cycles, right? And so the reason that I'm making videos the way that I make them, and the reason that I'm making this video, is because this is moving in a cycle. So there's a girl that started in the hair industry at 20 like I did, at 18 like I did, and you come into the industry and you comparing yourself to people, like how much you should charge, how this should look, how you should run your business, how you should, and even if it's not doing hair, right, on social media, you compare, oh, I need to post this many times a day, I need to make videos about this, I need to make videos about that. And at the end of the day, you have to decide what's best for you. Because, for example, first everybody did all of the natural content. Once the natural content was over, because at the end of the day, if you're not a scientist and if you're not really passionate about the science of hair, you can only talk about it for so long. Because the content that you're making is going to be based on articles that you're reading from other people's research, right? Because you don't have any of your own personal data or research. So all of the information that you're giving on YouTube is going to be strictly based off information that you're getting off YouTube and off of social media. So at the end of the day, that content gonna get real old real fast. Even the content that's viral, of course it goes viral right now, like doing different hairstyles and like showing different hairstyles. I could do that. I'm not doing that either. It has no longevity. Even like commentary and stuff like that, that's cool too, but I'm like, I don't want to do that, because then my soul and my livelihood, the livelihood of my children and everything around me, my legacy is dependent upon something bad happening to somebody else. If I'm doing a commentary channel, I have to bury myself in other people's shit. Because the only way you can have a commentary channel is if you spending all of your time looking at what the fuck is going on in the world so you can comment on it. I didn't want that. I don't want it. So I had to get in a position where I asked myself, what's more important to me? Short-term, short monetary gain that's gonna last for a very short amount of time, or some legacy that I can build long-term? Because I'm gonna ask you, what type of legacy are you really like? Yeah, you can make a whole lot of money and all of that short-term, but long-term, what type of legacy am I building for my family, for my children, for my womb, for my bloodline? What type of legacy am I building, right? Did my ancestors pray for me to come here and be here commenting on other people's shit? Or am I supposed to be adding to what they've already put forth? And that's something that I had to ask myself. And I'm not knocking nobody else's hustle. If maybe God really did create certain people to comment and critique other people's shit. Maybe crazy, but that's why God is God and I'm me, because that don't make no sense to me, but it is what it is. And I had to tell myself that's not something that I want to do. I ain't no spring chicken now. Well, maybe I am a spring chicken, I don't know, but I don't have it. Just because it's on sale don't mean you gotta buy it. I know you make a lot of money doing that, but just because it's on sale don't mean you gotta buy it. I can't make content just talking about other people. Like, I can't do it. And what's crazy is I have videos that get a lot of views. If I keep doing certain content like that, it'll spike the algorithm. But I'm like, no. So I was in this place where it just made me feel like, damn, do I want to do content, period? Because it's crazy. It's like, okay, the content that is hurting women the most is the content that they like the most. And the content that helps them the most is the content that's not really that interesting, so they don't want to see it as much. So then it puts you in a position, it's like, do I be a sellout? Just because at the end of the day, when you in marketing class, they ain't talking shit about integrity. It's get the people what they want. If it's about making money, if it's about making coin, give the people what they want. But for me, it's just so much bigger than that, and I can't sleep at night. I'm not feeling good in the morning. I'm not feeling good about what I do if I'm not adding anything to the world. What am I adding to the world if I'm commenting on some shit that somebody else going through? And I'm not saying that the people who doing that are wrong. I'm just speaking for myself. So that's when I had to decide, like, sit down and say, okay, Cynthia, what do you want? Like, what do you want to do? Because I'm literally online, and don't get me wrong, like, everybody that I'm about to mention, the reason that I'm mentioning them is because I like them. Like, I watch them all the time. Literally in less than, I'm gonna say, in less than freaking a week. It hasn't even been a week. What's today? I think today's Thursday. I've seen at least 5 of the YouTubers that I watch on a regular basis have moved out of the country. They're like moving to Mexico. They like selling everything that they got and moving to Mexico. And I'm not saying that there's something wrong with that. What I'm saying is this, hey, right? We are constantly putting ourselves lower and putting other people, other things, other entities, other things outside of ourselves, above ourselves. And that's why we can't get ahead. That's why no matter what we do, even if you get the money, even if you get the views, even if you get the likes, even if you get the subscribers, even if you get the marriage, even if you get the baby, even if you get the car, the house, the bottom, the red bottoms, whatever, it doesn't matter. Because if you are not centered within yourself, and if you do not know who you are, and if you are not solidified in your worthiness, then it's not gonna work. Because when you break down the word worship, the first part of the word comes from the word worthy, is where that word comes from, right? And this is what the word worthy means. And then the word ship basically means to be deserving of, right? So this is the definition of this word. So collectively, this is what the word worship means. And at the end of the day, and I'm not trying to get all spiritual, but it is, everything, all is one, everything is connected. If the creator of everything around me lives within me, there is nothing more powerful than me outside of me. There is nothing outside of me is more powerful than me. If the creator of all lives within me, it makes no sense. What outside of me can elevate me higher than what I already have within me? If the creator of the universe is residing within me, it makes no sense. I'm not worthy. Do I not deserve that? And I think that's our problem. When we wake up in the morning, you checking your phone and you looking at other stuff, and you're giving the worthiness away to other things, to other people. You're exalting other people instead of you just looking on social media and grabbing nuggets. Just like the videos that I make, I'm not trying to tell y'all what to do. I'm dropping nuggets. You pick up the nuggets that you need, and the ones that don't apply, you let them fly to somebody else because they ain't yours. If we all just get to this place where we're actually being our real authentic self, you won't constantly see everybody going through these cycles of reinventing themselves over and over and over and over again. And I can say, and I'm not trying to be stank, but it is what it is, I can say for myself, even though the transition has been hard, watching, hearing all of the negativity that people have to say, and my views and the stuff that's happening with everybody else, that should start happening to me way before it started happening to everybody else, because I stopped doing hair way before the algorithm started screwing with everybody else's views. But for me, it became so much deeper than that, because for the last 5 years, this, like, the views and stuff going down for most people it's been going on like for the last couple months, maybe the last year. It's been going on since I stopped doing hair. So over these years, I've built so many other forms of engagement for me and my fan base, not my fan base, for me and my viewers and my community. There's so many different avenues that we could communicate, so many different streams of income that I've created for myself, because I'm not gonna sit up here like money ain't just coming from the damn sky for me. Well, before we went, now it is, but it wasn't just coming from the sky for me. So if I wasn't doing hair, I don't give a damn how many followers I have on social media. I don't give a damn. I didn't have ebooks, I didn't have classes at the time, I didn't have products and stuff that I was selling. And even well, yeah, I did have products I was selling, but with product sales and with booking appointments, if I'm not doing hair or if I'm not promoting, I am not making money. It was not passive. So I had to put all of these different sets of passive income in motion, and it's not quick and easy. It's not. I don't give a shit what they try to tell you on social media. It is not quick, it is not easy, it is not fast. It takes a long time. It takes learning, it takes money, it takes repetition, it takes building relationship, it takes making the type of views that won't trigger the algorithm. Because listen, a lot of the videos that are here on my channel, they don't trigger the algorithm, but they trigger people's hearts, they trigger people's minds. They answer questions that nobody else has been able to answer. And for that reason, I'll have a forever viewer, and a forever viewer is 10 times more valuable than a viral viewer. A forever viewer and a viral viewer are two completely different things. A viral viewer wants to be entertained. Okay, that other type of viewer is the viewers that I'm going after. I want you to feel fed when you watch my videos. I want you to get your questions answered. If you are watching my videos and at the end of the video you still have more questions, I want you to leave a comment, and then I'm going to read through your comments and answer your questions in video form. It's building a relationship. And when you aren't getting big huge brand deals based on your views nowadays, you're getting the biggest brand deals based on relationship, because there are people who get millions of views and sell 0 products. A view does not equal somebody pulling out their card. It just simply doesn't. A lot of people that's watching is under 18 and ain't got no damn credit card. So a view does not mean a dollar amount. People, just because you have millions of views on TikTok don't mean you have millions of dollars in the bank, because a lot of TikTok viewers are children. So yeah, like it just depends on. That's why TikTok is building a whole nother platform that people are joining. I still get in that position too, where I'm like judging myself, like, am I doing enough? But I feel like my generation, and maybe everybody, is so freaking hard on themselves. Like, oh my god, I haven't done this yet, I haven't done this, I need to do this. But it's like, my husband's auntie she just turned 103 years old. I am 32. I'm not even halfway to the life that she's lived. I'm not even halfway to 100. I'm not even halfway there. Why the fuck am I being so hard on myself? Why am I trying to require so much of myself all the time? Why? In comparison to who? To do what? And then once I do it, once I get it, once I accomplish the thing, it's like being a drunken fucking fool. Because once you get it, yeah, you happy, you celebrate for a minute, and then once you sit in it for a couple of months, that shit is old. Once you sit in the manifestation of something that you've been working on for a very long time, if you are not solidified within yourself, it's going to be old. You're going to be like a drunken fool looking for another fix, because then it becomes something else. But if you really make you, if you really just make you your focus and not other people, not what other people think about you, not what other people think about your attitude. Like, I'm gonna be honest, like, I'm a Cancer, so I am a really emotional person, and like, it used to really bother me. Like, I really don't know what I would do without my husband. My husband would be like, babe, wait, stop, hey, stop out of it. Like, but at the end of the day, I'm not mad about it. I wouldn't change one thing about it, because if I believe that different things, even for if you listen to the sound of my voice and you don't necessarily like me, right? I believe that we are all one, right? We are all a piece of each other. And sometimes if you looking at me, you don't like me, or my tone of voice makes you feel away, it's because I am triggering something within you that you are not bringing to the surface. Whether it's an issue you got with your cousin, maybe your cousin act like me and talk like me, or maybe your cousin was a little bit more aggressive than you and you were a little bit more passive, and maybe the way that I talk reminds you of her, or whatever the trigger is. If because you don't know me personally, if I make you feel anything positive or negative, it's a trigger. And it's a trigger, it's a sign, your spirit trying to tell you, like, this is something that you need to work on, this is something that you need to focus on. It don't have nothing to do with me. You don't know me, I don't know you, girl. I don't care nothing about, I mean, I care about you and stuff, but like not like that. So that's what I mean. And I don't have a problem being the trigger. Like, it's not a big deal. I have no issue, because once I'm the trigger and it's pulled, you're going to go look for the issue. You're gonna go look for it. And once you look for it, right, and you find it, if you need more help, I understand, right? I understand what that feels like. I understand what being triggered feels like. So from that perspective, I can be with you 100% the whole way through of you trying to figure things out. It's not a big deal. I've had so many people that did the whole rice water thing, and then the same thing that I said was gonna happen to them, and they didn't know what to do. So guess who they called? Me. And did I go off on them for calling me out of my name on YouTube? Absolutely not. Why? Because I understand that I am a trigger. I get that. And it's okay. It's okay. I know. And I'm okay with that. But what we need to do is be okay with being triggered and learn what to do with those triggers when those emotions are triggered, instead of you just getting defensive, being like, okay, what is this? Why am I feeling like this? And then at the end of you searching, if you find like, this girl don't got nothing to tell me, she's just stupid, I just don't like her, then cool, I probably wouldn't like you either, and that's okay. But at the end of the day, like, if we can all just get out of our emotions and everybody just learn from each other and stop comparing our lives to other people, because it's so many other things behind the scenes that you don't know. There's so many things about me that you don't know. There's so many things that I've experienced and that I've gone through and that I've overcome and that I'm still going through and that I'm still trying to overcome every day. So we don't know each other. All we know are the nuggets that we give to each other. All we know, the only things we know about are the little nuggets that we drop here and there for each other to try to figure out and see where we're coming from, right? But at the end of the day, none of us really know each other. Everybody's just figuring life out all at the same time. And my love, I promise you that as I learn new things, as I make mistakes, because oh my god, I make so many, and I'm gonna make a lot more. Like, I'm gonna make more. The fuck? Like, I'm gonna make more. And I'm not about to feel bad about it. I'm not gonna apologize for it. Shit. Like, I'm not. And I don't want you to apologize either. I want us to all get out of this mode of feeling like we have to apologize for not being pieces of perfection, because at the end of the day, to me, that's what blocks your blessings. Trying to be a piece of perfection. And I'm done doing that. It's driving me fucking insane. It's going to make my edges fall out. And y'all know I already deal with HS. I don't fucking have time. And I'm just being honest. I'm a transparent moment. Do not compare yourself to me. Don't do that. Don't compare yourself to nobody, because just don't. I remember feeling like in my early 20s, I never ever regretted getting married early, ever. But people used to make me feel like I made the worst decision of my life, like I threw my whole life away, like I wasn't gonna experience shit. And now the same girls who was telling me not to do that couldn't find a husband if they thumped them in the forehead in between the washer and dry at the laundromat. So learn how to run your own race. Feel good about the decisions that you make, and don't stress, because you be stressing about paying rent, stressing about paying bills and shit. And how long have you been stressing about that? You got what Steve Harvey said, you got 100% success rate. You've made it through 100% of everything that you've ever faced, guaranteed. Because guess what, if you didn't make it through it, you wouldn't be sitting here listening to me. Maybe you ain't make it through with all your teeth, maybe you ain't make it through it with all your edges, maybe you got a little bit of hair on your nipples now, but you made it, shit. And that's all that matters. You can shave that hair off your nipples. You can grow your edges back. You can find you a new boo. Girl, you don't need to have no kids. You don't want to, you can get a dog. Shit, like, it's Merry Christmas. Well, it's not Christmas, but I love you guys so much. Thank you for listening to my miniature rant. And can I say this, like, not just for me, right? This is for everybody, like, just across YouTube. Every YouTuber is dealing with the same thing. Every YouTuber is tired of talking about the same things that they was talking about 10 years ago. Just like you at home, you're probably tired of talking about or working the same job that you was working 10 years ago. So if we could all, like, hold each other up and just support each other in our new ventures. If you see a YouTuber that's making a video different than the videos that you are normally used to watching, by showing your support, you don't have to pull out a dime, you don't have to pull out a nickel. Just sit there and watch the video. Just give it a chance. Something different than what you're used to seeing. Just give it a freaking chance. All right, I love y'all so much. Thank you for letting me rant and get this out. There will be a lot more content coming on the way. I am just trying to be gentle with myself. I'm just trying to be gentle with myself. That's all I'm gonna say.